Fantastic. Let's get started because Griffin is here. Griffin, your microphone is on mute and your phone is very close to your face. You're welcome to pull it away and pull it down a little bit if you like. Um, just to
Yeah.
recenter. Can,
There we
can
go, Joseph. Sorry about this. I've just it's been on the run today.
no problem. You're a man with many responsibilities and
Well, especially with the event next week too. It's just been
Yes.
crazy, but I'm here and I'm happy to be a part of it.
we're grateful to have you with us. I'm just going to read a quick introduction bio for you, for everyone here, just so we know where we're at. And then we'd
Sure.
love for you to dive into a little bit about what you are so busy with. So, Griffin is the founder of Foreseeable Future Foundation, which is a leading national nonprofit organization dedicated to advocating for the visually impaired and blind community through educational awareness, sports, recreation, and community. The organization works to break down barriers by providing access to specialized equipment, funding opportunities, and in person experiences that empower individuals to live active, independent lives. Since its inception, Foreseeable Future has impacted more than 5,000 visually impaired and blind individuals and their families, fostering a stronger, more inclusive community across the country. It was founded by Griffin Pinkow, whose personal journey is the driving force behind the organization's mission. After going from a healthy teenager to gradually losing his vision, Griffin faced immense physical and emotional challenges. Rather than allowing those challenges to define him, he chose to turn adversity into action. Before the age of 35, Griffin has completed 4 marathons, built a nonprofit dedicated to serving others facing vision loss, and is now pursuing a spot on the Paralympic team in tandem cycling. His story of resilience and determination has inspired countless individuals, both sighted and visually impaired, to rethink what is possible. Through Griffin's leadership and vision, Foreseeable Future Foundation continues to expand its reach, creating opportunities, raising awareness, and changing lives every day. Griffin, thank you so much for being here with us. We would love to learn more about how you started this organization and what is keeping you so busy. You know, you said you've got an event coming up next week. I believe that's the image behind me is from one of your galas. So we'd
Yeah.
love to learn more about what's happening with you guys and the impact that you're making.
Well, thank you for that introduction. So I'm visually
Y-
impaired as well.
Your audio seems like it's
Oh,
disconnected.
how about now, Joseph? Can you hear
That's
me?
that's better. That's better.
Okay. Sorry. But and let me know if it dips out again for whatever reason. But um, So I actually started Foreseeable. It came from personal and professional experiences. Was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa at age 11 or 12. Slowly losing vision over time. Kids being challenging. Trying to get my teachers to understand, and also going through it as an individual, and also just trying to grow up was challenging. So losing more vision. Was still an athlete. Still played sports in high school. Went to college. Didn't really tell them what my vision was. Had a head injury, went out for the rugby team, and which wasn't a smart idea, but I did it. And then had to talk more about my vision. And at Susquehanna, we started to do events on campus to raise money for research and to bring more awareness to what I was going through and others would go through that are losing different stages of vision in their life. So at Susquehanna, we kind of put those pieces together to then realize that I could actually do more and help a community that I'm a part of. So after graduating Susquehanna, I ran my first marathon actually my senior year of college, New York City, then did Chicago, Boston, and Philly, but was wondering if there are any other opportunities like this for this community. So in 2017, I started Foreseeable Future Foundation. Our mission is to help the visually impaired and blind through sports and recreation. We help kids, young adults, and veterans all over the U.S. We have different ranch programs. We offer advocacy curriculums, education and awareness events around the community, our grant and scholarship program, where we give different individuals that want to pursue sports at any level the opportunity where equipment costs, lodging, to make sure that they can focus on their sport and pursue it at any level. So that's what I've started with Foreseeable Future Foundation, and we're continuing to grow. We do different events in local communities where we have relationships, and then we also have our big fundraiser, which is actually next week in New York City, where we're going to have 500 to 600 people. We've raised over $1 million at that event. We're thinking we're going to hit our goal this year, and it's just a great celebration to help the mission and work of Foreseeable Future Foundation, which is my mission in life. And we're even finding different ways that we can bring education and awareness to this community. I'm actually launching a children's book on June 9th at the event to bring more education and awareness to those individuals. So if we can start young, we do that through a lot of camps, clubs, and clinics we help and support and work with. But it just gives the kids another opportunity to see that, if I did it, they can do anything that they want to do.
Amazing, Griffin, and you are a leader by example. So let's start with in just in terms of the mindset it took to run this initiative, to start this initiative. You were sighted, you for
Yes.
much of your life, and you were someone that then lost that sight or much of it. So help us understand the kind of mindset that that does to you and how you were able to find strength to make the most of it. And now do you help others go through that same process? Like I think it's much a mindset thing more than anything
Yeah.
in order to inspire others. Tell us about that.
Yeah, totally, Joseph. So honestly, I don't know where, to be honest with you, where it came from for me. I was just always trying to figure things out. I always just had that personality and mindset of, okay, we're just going to get through it. We're going to figure it out. And luckily, I think sports and my love of sports as a young kid and in general, even now, has helped with that, because with that mindset of we're whether it's a team or an individual sport, you have to put in the work. You have to get through the hard times, whether it's good or bad. You have to deal with failure. You have to deal with success. So, I feel like even at a young age, even if I didn't realize it, sports has always kind of been my medicine. And I felt like that helped me having the mindset of an athlete. Luckily, going through these challenges, which at a young individual, young kid, having full vision at one time and having to not to stop doing things that my able-bodied peers could, I think that kind of helped with it as well. Besides me just always being open to, okay, let's not focus on what happened yesterday. Let's just keep moving forward. That's always kind of been my, I guess, mindset and mentality, and thinking, okay, if we think positively, then the things that are tough, might not be as bad as they could be, or it could be worse, because I've met other people with different challenges that put that mindset in perspective as well. So of course, that came over time after realizing I couldn't change the visual impairment. And I think then once I came to that conclusion, I figured out what else could I do, and I could change my attitude, my mindset, be more open to the adaptive equipment, because I didn't want a cane or a guide dog for a long time, thinking I would be different, realizing after the fact that just helped me even more. So I think those are kind of the pieces of how my mindset and personality and kind of thought process dealing with the challenge, then overcoming it in a sense, and then realizing how to deal with it in a healthy way.
Thank you for sharing, Griffin. I'd love anyone to put in the chat, as we have lots of visually impaired persons here, if there's anything from a mindset perspective you're still struggling with in terms of acceptance or inspiration to move forwards, as well as anyone to put in the chat what solutions that you've found have been most effective for yourself on your path to help you keep fighting, help you keep hope, and help you keep working for better and better solutions. That's all part of this, is the ability to see, better solutions maybe before they even exist, and keep working towards the best that can be for yourselves. Like so, Griffin, when you started the foundation,
Yeah,
what was the principal mindset? Was it just that you wanted to help others move forwards on their own paths, or
yeah.
what was it that you wanted to share and make available to others?
So I think what I did at Susquehanna, Joseph, honestly, was, at first what we did there was to just get people understanding and make my experience better and get them to understand what I was going through. But then when we were going through those pieces and doing the programs and raising money and, getting those incredible feedback and opening people up to what this, that you're not just blind or you're sighted, kind of gave me the thought of, okay, if this worked for me and made my experience that much better in a small little school in Pennsylvania, what can I do to, I've always wanted to help. But I think what I did at Susquehanna put me in the mindset and purpose of like, okay, I don't want a regular 9 to 5 job, which I can go do. I want to do something that has more meaning and more purpose. And I want to go help people. and I want to start a nonprofit. And I didn't know what that was going to look like, what we were going to do, honestly. Was always kind of learning on the go. And at first, I went to talk to other people in the nonprofit world or sector, um, and some others, and everyone said, like, what are you doing? It's not going to work. You shouldn't do this. Like, you can still help people and work for different nonprofits. And I said, well, let me see if there's anything like this for this community. And as we know, the visually impaired and blind community are either, kind of forgotten about or kind of looked over. And I've always loved sports and recreation. That's been such a big thing for me, and getting people moving and active, and not just the physical piece, but the emotional, mental piece, all the other things that come with it. I felt like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to see if it works. And if it works for a year, great. And if not, I'll figure something else out. But I think at Susquehanna, what I was doing there, one, to just help my own experience and get others to understand, turned into something where I realized, wait a second, like, I have something here, and then taking it and using it in the real world. And then, of course, finding the right people and the right pieces to make it happen. But I think also the determination of, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure it out. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, I'll find something else to do. But I feel like that's how it all came together, and just kind of driving forward to make it happen. I've always had, that attitude and mindset. And then also, of course, I've always had an entrepreneurial, aspiration. So blending all that together with doing it for this.
Oh, I'm gonna remind you one more time. You might want to hold the phone a little further away
Sure,
and
sure. Thanks, Joseph.
tilt,
Yeah, because
tilt.
I can't see where the phone
No,
is.
I know, and you can tilt it down a little bit. That's perfect. Okay, there
There we
we go.
go.
Now we can see all the hair, so we got the full vision.
Full flow.
Um, you mentioned you wanted to see if this works. What in your mind was the factor of whether or not this was quote unquote working? So what were you looking for a success marker
Yeah.
that helped you understand if you were on the path and doing what you were trying to do?
Well, I was talking with educators and professionals from the field and other people that, like, other families that I was talking to them like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And do you think it would be helpful? Do you think it would be useful? And, after the first, I think, 5 or 6 people, they said, yes, you need to do this. It's definitely something you should pursue. And then we actually gave a small grant to an organization that was doing a sports camp for kids, and they invited me there. And when I was there, everyone was saying, Griffin, you have no idea how much this helps us, what you're doing for these families and these kids. And I think that was the turning point, Joseph, of like, okay, this is working. We're really helping. Can be in the environment where we know it's making a difference. And other people that have been doing this a lot longer than me, that are either in the field or just in the nonprofit space, are saying, you have something here, so you should pursue it. So I think, you know, taking the idea to a concept to seeing if it actually would work, that was kind of the test for me of, okay, we're onto something here. And now we just need to figure out how to scale it and grow it. And instead of helping, 3 families, how can we help thousands?
And again, I'm just going to dive in. So what does helping mean to you? Does it mean helping their mindset? Does it mean resources of some nature? Does it mean opportunities of some nature?
Yeah,
What does
I
that
think
mean?
I think it's a combination, Joseph, because it's different person to person. It could be, let's say we go to a camp and we help 5 kids attend a sports camp. Well, there's one of those kids, it might change their perspective on how they can, deal with their challenge, or how they're able to navigate, or their mobility skills. Another one might realize, wait a second, I can pursue sports, and this is how I can advocate for myself when I go home. So, I guess helping, or, they realize this is a resource that I didn't know was available, that I can pursue, by coming to this camp and participating and being around this community of, like-minded individuals like myself. So, helping is pretty broad, but, I think it's, for us, it's smaller wins, with in those different 3 or 4 different buckets, because it's different person to person. But those are some of the ways I think we measure, helping people and really making a change. It doesn't have to mean that they're gonna, become an attorney, or they're gonna become a Paralympic athlete. It could mean, they went to this camp and we were able to help them get there. They realized they had a good time. They met people like themselves, and it made them more comfortable dealing with the challenges they were going through and finding the resources to, do what they want to do when they go home, and either, be a little bit more active or be more willing to talk about what their challenges are. So then they know what tools they need to be successful. So I think those are some of the ways we measure it.
That was perfect. Thank you for explaining that. One of the things you mentioned you wanted to discuss in this are independence barriers, misconceptions, and then challenges, which I think is a good segue from what you were just saying. Feel free
Yeah.
to elaborate on some of the barriers, misconceptions, and challenges that exist in this community.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that, Joseph. So I think the challenge is one which sounds, silly or too simple, um, which we've talked about before, but getting people to understand and realize that, each person's different, but at least personally for me, um, asking about it and asking questions and being curious and wanting to learn more compared to, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to say it, I don't want to offend you, which is different for every person. Um, but I think the misconception is that I've found, and throughout is that a lot of people are afraid to ask the question and find and look past the visual impairment or blindness, instead of seeing, Griffin, he's an athlete, he's an entrepreneur, he's a founder of a nonprofit. Oh, there's Griffin, he's visually impaired or blind, and that's not all we are. That's not who we are. It might be, a little bit of a barrier for people, but you figure out how to navigate that and work around it. So I think that's a real misconception, and realizing that this community can do anything, whatever that is. I know friends that are that are attorneys, that are, in finance, that are athletes like myself, or are in, work at farms. So I think that's a big misconception. And kind of, one thing that we try to do through the foundation and just in general is break everything down to a more simple level of, okay, for example, I want to go to the gym. Okay, my buddy Nick wants to go work out too. Let's go work out together. Instead of, figuring out, okay, well, how are we going to get there? How are we going to do the workout? Compared to, okay, let's just go figure it out and do it together, because we both have that common goal of wanting to go to the gym. So I think, some of those barriers and challenges are getting people to look past, you know, just the cane or a guide dog, and realizing that, that's not just all who we are. There's a lot more to it. We're like anyone else.
And what can we do collectively to help people's perception change in that way? And once again, you can tilt your phone down a little bit to
Sorry, Joseph.
you
Yeah.
you can even tilt it down a little more.
How about
Okay?
there?
That's perfect.
So,
That's
so I think there's a lot of different ways, and it's a part of why we're chatting. Um, show people the different equipment, the different devices, the adaptive equipment. Um, Other individuals that are kind of breaking down kind of those stigmas and things of, uh, you know, whether it's running marathons or doing X, Y, and Z, and just getting people more, trying to get, it's tough to, I don't want to say a movement, but to try to get people to get it out there more, in a lot of different challenges and ways, and kind of in that mainstream, and with different companies as well, to show them all the things that are available that can help anyone who's visually impaired or blind do something as simple as, okay, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I could read what's on the shelf because X, Y, and Z, or I have these, incredible, pieces of equipment so I can, run independently, or whatever the case may be. So I think that's a big part, is the education. And then, of course, you have the understanding and the awareness piece. And I think that's something that we can do. And everyone else is different. Luckily, I've taken it in a different way of, talking to more people, making them more comfortable about asking the questions, and trying to get out there more. So, and bringing more education to what this community can do, compared to, well, you have a visual impairment or blindness, you can't really do anything. It's like, no, do you know there's these pair of glasses that you can use to help you, or this adaptive piece of equipment? So I don't know if that fully answers it, Joseph, but that's kind of where my thought went.
Yeah, I think there's no full answer at this point because it's just how can we keep moving the yardsticks forwards? And one of the things I love about yourself and your advocacy is you had the chance to try one of our earliest prototypes
Yeah,
For Gen 1, and it was not very effective for your condition
cor-
at the time.
correct,
But
correct.
you left so excited about the possibilities for us to help others and for us to be able to help you in the future. And to have that attitude and that perspective is very admirable. So I'd love you to just talk us about that excitement and how you're able to advocate so strongly, through that experience.
Yeah, Joseph, it was really cool because I had friends and people saying, "Oh my God, you're going to go there and you're going to be able to see and everything else." And I'm like, guys, yeah, the technology is incredible. It's life changing. It can be life changing, but everyone's different. Visual impairments and blindness, everyone has they're at a different, level in their journey of, vision loss. And, went there to just meet with the doctors and scientists and try on the glasses and just get to experience it. And giving the feedback of, okay, it didn't work for me, but it helped in maybe one or two different other ways, and getting to meet some of the other patients, seeing how it could help them, and just seeing where the technology can go, and that it was just the first, it's just the first generation. So it's just going to keep getting better and better, and being able, if it helps me, great. But, the whole mission and goal is we want to help millions of people that are, in different situations. So I was really excited to be there and meet everyone and get to try the technology for myself, even though, it didn't help me. That doesn't mean that it can't help, millions of other people. And at some point, just getting even better and better. And maybe at some point, it'd be able to help me as well. So I was really excited to be in that environment, and learn more and hear where it's going, and be able to try it for myself, but then also meet other patients where, they had success. For example, Arthur, the CTO there, um, someone, he had a mustache. I didn't know, he might not now, but I didn't realize Arthur had a mustache. And, so another patient was like, "Oh, Arthur, I didn't realize you had a mustache." And I'm like, wait a second, this person just put on these glasses, and now, like, no one told him any of these things. He was picking up details of people's faces, and it's just mind-blowing. It's incredible. So that was my experience there. Even though it didn't really help me, that didn't really make a difference. It was just great to try it on, experience it, knowing that it's the first model, and the capabilities and the possibilities it has for millions of people. And, they don't have to, start a nonprofit. It could just help them in their day-to-day life, and just get through life a little bit easier. So that was my experience and my excitement. And I'm excited to have some of the team there next week with us in New York City, and just continuing to help and be another resource and advocate for Innovega, and continue to help in the journey. And then also at some point, hopefully put on the glasses and get to see things maybe a little bit clearer.
Grenolyn, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, no, I resonate so much with everything that you're saying, Griffin. And this is Corinna Lind, by the way.
Yes. No, I know the voice.
Um, but I think one of the big things that I love about Innovega is that we're really intentionally building a community.
Yes.
And we're building a community so that we can identify resources and identify partnerships. And, you from the beginning have done some incredible shout outs to Innovega and have given us that opportunity to meet other great organizations doing work for the low vision community. I think about, meeting Kevin Harrington and getting that opportunity to meet Big Brand. And through some of those introductions, we've
Yeah.
been able to talk to people and give them hope and tell them about the glasses. And so just appreciate you. And,
Of
this
course.
community is growing. And I think that we're stronger together. And so through the work that you're doing, the work, we have Foundation Fighting Blindness that was on.
Yes.
We've been introduced to some other organizations. I think that it's just a great way to bring us all together, but to also identify resources and provide, some opportunities for people to find out more about and be informed about what's going on. So just thank you so much. I'm looking forward
Of
to
course.
being at your event next Tuesday. I
Yeah.
don't know if you gave all the details, but the gala is June 9th. It's a Tuesday. It's going to be at the Tribeca rooftop, whoop whoop, 6 to 10
Mhm.
p.m. And are there tickets still available?
There's tickets still available, and then if anyone wants to stay out late with us, we have a good friend who, Steve and the team. I introduced them to one of my closest friends, who's Australian, Nick, and he has a pub in New York City, which is in a very incredible spot. So we're going to continue the party after the fundraiser and event over at Old Mates downtown. But tickets are still available, and if anyone wants to join with us, they're more than welcome to through the website. And to your point, Carolyn, just continuing to offer these resources, and we're all trying to help the same community in different ways or similar ways. So I definitely agree. All of us working together and sharing resources and efforts and seeing what we can do to just make it better can only make everyone else stronger. So I'm excited about those possibilities too.
Griffin, some people are asking about dinner in the dark. So is this the same event as the
So,
gala
so
itself?
it's so it's different. So the
Okay.
gala is just a fun mingle, a celebration. It's not black tie. We don't have, it's not a sit down dinner. We do have tables and everything, but it's just a fun party to celebrate a good cause compared to our come to your senses events. That's what we call them. That's kind of the sit down, simulating different visual impairments or complete blindness. So those are two different things.
Okay, wonderful. And someone asked about getting tickets. So I did put the tickets link in the chat in case anyone is on
Awesome.
the East Coast and able to join.
That would
Go for
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, and that's what's a little bit different too about our event. We have a lot of people from this community, O&M specialists, teachers of the visually impaired and blind, people from other organizations like Lighthouse is going to be there, Carolyn, and others, where every that community and individuals and parents and families we've helped and supported. So it's a real community event. It's a fundraiser for our mission and to help more people, but that's the special part about what we do too. Everyone's together, and it's just a fun community piece too.
Thank you. Um, I wish I could go. Carolyn's going to be there, so
Yeah,
we'll have to
she'll be there with you, Joseph.
live
And you'll
vicariously
be there
through
in
her.
spirit.
I absolutely will. Steve, I want to ask you a quick question if you're available. You were there for Griffin's experience at the lab. So I'd love you to just talk a little bit about, what you noticed from that. And again, he's talked about future opportunities, future developments for the technology, and how things could continually improve for both himself and others. Did you want to speak on that? Um,
Yeah, be pleased to do that. Can you hear me okay?
yep.
Sure. Of the larger visually impaired community, about 90% of those who are visually impaired, not completely blind, but visually impaired, about 90% have something called central vision loss. And essentially, those are the individuals who have AMD, who have glaucoma, where wherever they look, whether it be reading a book, looking across the room to a loved one, that is where they're not seeing well. But they have vision at the side. They have so-called peripheral vision, which keeps them safe. About 10% of that community have the opposite. They have RP, retinosa pigmentosa, or tunnel vision, which Griffin described, where they have lost their peripheral vision, which means that from a standpoint of safety, knowing that something is approaching from the left or the right is not something they have good access to. So as we think about providing solutions, a continuum of solutions, our company picked the larger community, those with the central vision loss, but they still have good peripheral vision. And we make use of the peripheral vision, the vision just off to the left and right. We make use of that to help them see well with this central vision loss condition. So Griffin, he's lost the peripheral, and we weren't able to offer him the advantage of using the peripheral vision for his particular situation. However, as Griffin figured out pretty quick, I think he might have said something like, "You're smart guys. You should be able to do something more." And our CTO, Arthur, is up for that. And the condition then, the 10% that have this peripheral vision loss, would be very helpful for Griffin to see off to the periphery. And we have that on a roadmap now of ways we can offer benefit to Griffin and several hundred thousand that stand behind him with um, this RP. So well said that we've been on a path to achieve a radical solution in conventional glasses that people would be proud to wear all day, and reach as many as possible. But at the same time, I'd mentioned just before Griffin joined us, he's bringing us insights as a participant in this industry. Not I'm not visually impaired, but I'm a participant in the greater community in the industry that's already beginning to help us. And just by him taking the time to visit us in the lab and allowing us to understand his vision condition better, caused us to make a decision about the path that we're on. So much appreciated, Griffin. You know that.
Yeah, it was a blast, Steve. We had a lot of fun, and I had Nick as my chauffeur, and he
Yes.
loved being in the lab. And yeah, we had it was a lot of fun to meet everyone and go through that process.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've got one question for Griffin, though. I know time might be short, but I'll ask
Yeah,
it quick if I can.
Of course.
Right. Griffin uses an expression today about he's willing to just go try to figure it out. He's really courageous. There's something in front of him that's not working or stopping him from getting to where he or those he cares about needs to be. He just steps back and figures it out. And he's encouraging others to do the same thing. And it's working for him, and it's working for many others. But I'm left thinking about 16 million people in North America that have vision impairment. And I'm curious what percentage have that mindset that they're willing to step out, even just to purchase a pair of glasses, even just to join our community and learn more and participate, etc. What percentage are willing to step out versus what percentage in Griffin's mind, and I'm asking you, Griffin,
sure.
are not ready? And because at some level you've described foreseeable of causing people or allowing people to play sports and do things that they didn't think they were going to do again. So they're stepping forward. But does Innovega face like 90% of those with visual impairment who've kind of lost that courage, some of that courage and that hope? Is that a fair statement in from what you've observed or not? Is it
I,
better than that?
I think it's kind of mixed actually, Steve. I mean, there's sort of what you described, fortunately, but I think there's more and more of where it balances out a little bit more.
Good.
You know, they sources or they have things that are coming to them, or they go, okay, um, let me. If I don't think there's, it's probably more scaling on the side of the perspective and mindset you mentioned, but I think we're trying to change that, and that is starting to change a little bit more, and that's kind of back to Carolyn's point of like we have all these organizations that are trying to get these people to know they can do things, they can get a job, they can run a marathon, they can whatever they want to do. So I think that's starting to scale the other way a little bit with um, the help, of course, of these organizations and individuals. So it might have, it might be more to the percentage of what you described, Steve, but I think, that's starting to change a little bit as well, where people would be more open to try things and see it as,
Good. You were breaking up a little bit, but I heard the whole message. And
Steve, can you hear me?
yeah, we're hearing you, but you're breaking up a bit, I think.
Sorry, I'm on the run, Steve.
Hey,
That's
no problem,
probably
no
why.
problem. Yeah. So what I'll say then, based upon what you just shared, is that things are improving. We have social media and we have a lot of communities that are moving in all directions. And I feel an important part of what Innovega needs to do is to offer encouragement to reach individuals and then demonstrate and offer encouragement that there's more. And certainly those that we've met, we probably have 15 come by our facility, and 90% came away saying this could change my life. This could do so much for me. And I'm so
Yes.
pleased. I basically met Innovega and its team. So offering that encouragement at scale, that would be your entrepreneur term, Griffin. How do we get far more people to be open to listening to listen to our message and the contribution we want to make? But it sounds like the trajectory is moving in the right direction. So appreciate all your help.
Of course, Steve.
Steve, there was a question about, I've been watching the chats just because we
Yeah.
are moving forward. So there's been lots of questions. One uh participant who calls herself an old lady, I'm sure she's young at heart, just says, I just want to share it with you, Griffin. She says, God bless you, young man. Thank you for your heart, stamina, and experience. It will help many. I'm at the other end of the spectrum, being an old lady slash young at heart who is dealing with the progression of AMD. I'm dealing with the mental challenges and emotional changes, which exactly what
Mm.
we were talking about earlier. I've looked into adaptive magnifiers and used what I could find. Thank you for your inspiration, Griffin. Right now, I see everything like a Picasso painting. This is a beautiful comment in many ways because one, Griffin, it gives you the credit that you deserve for inspiring others to keep looking for solutions. And two, it really tells a good story of, okay, I have vision loss now. What do I do? And Steve, I'd love for you to, so I did share in that chat a recent user testimonial from another woman who has onsetting AMD and what her experience with the glasses were. And that prompted a question from Randy and Nancy asking if we have test results from someone with glaucoma. So, Steve, I'd love you to address two things: is why or is what we're presenting an exact solution for those who traditionally were only able to look for magnifying scopes, for example, that don't work well? And two, have we tested anyone with glaucoma to date? And what are your thoughts on our ability to help with that condition?
Sure. Yeah, I can answer that. So there's something called bioptic telescopes, whereby a person can wear a pair of glasses with big magnifiers on the glasses, and they're fixed. It's a fixed lens, but that could enable an individual who has vision impairment to read better. And a different bioptic telescope could enable that person, if they wore that telescope, to watch television better. And a third bioptic telescope might allow them to go to a baseball game and get a better sense of what's happening on the field. But there are three bioptic telescopes, and there's confusion and there's cost, etc. So our glasses are good-looking glasses, as you can see behind me, are digital. And as digital, you can dial in the magnification that you need, or the coloration that you need, or the brightness or contrast that you need. So it now means that you can wear a single pair of glasses and you can use them for many and perhaps all usual tasks. So it's a very practical, it's lightweight, comfortable, stylish, all day wearable. It's a big promotion because that's critical. People aren't going to wear a VR headset in a restaurant to read a menu. So we've nailed the side of it, which is a pair of glasses, and we knew it had to be that. But at the same time, a pair of glasses that can be so flexible and personalizable, customizable to the specific needs and the specific tasks. That makes them, in my mind, so much more powerful than anything that we've seen before. An iPad does a certain thing, a bioptic telescope another, et cetera, et cetera. The question about the glaucoma is interesting. Yes, we tested individuals in our lab who have glaucoma and had very good results. The thing about glaucoma, as I've read, is that it can affect sometimes your central vision, sometimes your peripheral vision. So we've learned that just because a person has glaucoma doesn't tell us precisely what the visual condition is. And furthermore, we find that individuals can have some glaucoma and then some other forms of vision loss going on at the same time. So the beauty and the design element of what we have is our glasses don't care whether you have AMD or glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy or Stargardt's disease. They're a piece of technical clinical equipment customized for your vision system, which might be any combination of that. So it makes them even more powerful than for us to say these glasses work for glaucoma patients. Those glasses or our glasses don't work for AMD or vice versa. They simply work for vision conditions called central vision loss, which is about 90% of those who have vision impairment. There's my pitch.
I appreciate you answering multiple questions at once. Griffin, did you want to jump in and say something on the top of that, or?
I think Steve covered it. Steve hit all the points.
Okay, fantastic. Steve, you're getting so good at multiple answers at once. Okay, Griffin, before we dive deep into the comments, and I would appreciate if anyone there's some really good questions in there I look forward to addressing. If anyone has any questions for Griffin, please leave them in the chat as well. We'll absolutely get them up. So while people are doing that, Griffin, I have one quick question for you. And again, you can tilt your phone up a little bit
Sorry,
if you
Joseph.
like. No problem. Um, Tell us about your pursuing a spot on the Paralympic team in tandem cycling, and how can we support you on that amazing journey? That's just incredible.
Well, I think it's not just me, Joseph. It's anyone because paracycling is kind of a it. There needs to be more development there and more resources, like we're talking about, like anything else, and introducing more people to tandem cycling and realizing that they can do it and that they can pursue it at a high level if they want to. So, I never really was into cycling until I was older and, did marathons. My friend, who's an incredible para triathlete, she said, you should do this training camp at the facility in Colorado Springs. I was lucky to get accepted and I did it and then realized, wait, I can excel at this. And then that next year I was in the national championships on the road. So I think it's a little bit bigger where if just getting more people introduced to the sport, getting them on tandems and building that pipeline, I think is important. And then also, like anything else, knowing that the resources are available and that it's something people can do.
Amazing. Griffin, I have a friend that is a Randy and Nancy. Griffin, I have a friend that is a tandem guide. Maybe you've met him, Joseph Mata. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, I know Joe really well. I've raced with him before. I've been at training camps with him. He's a really good person.
That is amazing, Randy and Nancy. Thank you for chiming in. Okay, so there's a lot of questions in the chat, and again, we're always conscious of everyone's time. So I'd like to just give a quick background for those who are not sure about some of the initiatives going on right now. In addition to Griffin's annual fundraiser happening next week, Innovega is also ramping up for our next Reg CF investor fundraising round. And I say that because we're probably a week to 2 weeks away from it opening. And then some of the questions in here have to do specifically with investing in the company, as well as getting one of the earliest glasses available. So we'll address all of those questions moving through these questions. First question from Jedi Yoda, who's been very active on the chat. Will there be an option to remain invested in the company at IPO? Is there a source for advice on remaining invested or buying preferred stock? I mean, Steve, you can answer, or I can go for it and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyone who is invested through these crowdfunding campaigns is getting common stock. Therefore, if there is a future IPO, you will remain invested in the company. That's the whole purpose of buying stock at this point in time. Steve, are there any options to purchase preferred stock in any future forthcoming rounds?
There's not, and we've been selling common stock for quite some time now, and employees, myself, we all own common stock. So the idea was to, fancy word, democratize the selling of equity, selling the dream in Innovega by us all buying and owning basically the same common stock. So there's no purpose these days for owning preferred shares in the early days of a company when things are less structured. It's often the case that preferred stock is sold. If you have it, and if we did IPO the company one day, the preferred stock becomes common stock. So the answer is we're all in a good position to buy common stock when we wish via the offerings that you just mentioned, Joseph, the one that's coming up. And what you buy, you own. Nobody takes that away from you.
Thank you, Steve. And also, as Cornelius mentioned in the chat, we are in a reservations period right now. So if you just go on and reserve some shares in the upcoming round, you don't have to invest or pay anything at this point. Neither are you fully committing to that. But if you do decide to invest when the round opens, you'll get an immediate 10% bonus shares that can stack on top of other bonuses. So it's really a win-win. We recommend anyone who's even interested in investing to reserve some shares now so you can take advantage of that bonus.
Joseph, we should get that link to that reservation page out because it's not always straightforward to find it. So maybe think about how we get that to these individuals or just to the greater community out there.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat right now for everyone. And it is the same link as our previous crowd fundraise. There, it's in the chat right now. Um, Jim had an amazing question. Jim, we always appreciate you. With several companies coming out with camera and internet-enabled glasses, do you see this as a threat to Innovega or an aid that will help socialize the technology with your added visual capabilities? So, Steve, again, I'm going to take a first crack at this, and you're welcome to add on.
Sure.
So, the one thing about what Innovega is doing that's different than all of these glasses with cameras is like mo many of these, smart glasses with cameras allow you to take a picture or take a quick video and it'll go into some cloud somewhere that you can address later. What we're doing is completely different. The camera in our glasses captures what's in front of you, and in real time, you have an augmented digital display of your real surroundings in real time. The amount of engineering and technology it takes to make that functional is the main challenge that people have not been able to address at this point moving forward. There's a lot of wiring, a lot of engineering, which so no one else is actually doing what we're doing in terms of the live real-time feedback of your actual environment. That's why a lot of the smart glasses that with cameras are not actually helpful to the visually impaired community because they're not designed to be that way. We're super lucky to have Arthur and now another executive member from the Apple Vision Pro team, Sang, who brought that technology to market over a 10-year period. They're bringing the best of their knowledge from developing vision tech solutions in order to help us achieve this engineering marvel that no one else has been able to do right now. So we don't see those as an immediate threat because the specific niche that we're focused on right now is it's more comparable to vision technologies that are very large, bulky devices, but they're so big because they haven't been able to figure out the engineering mix to make them a wearable pair. So we do feel like we're quite well segmented in our own lane, addressing the market that no one else is going to be able to do in the same way we are. Steve, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think you said it better than I could. So thank you.
Okay. Great question, Jim. And that's kind of our mission statement is
Yeah.
addressing that. How hard would it be to visit the San Diego lab for a walkthrough and possible purchase? It probably wouldn't be very difficult if you can handle your own accommodations, but from a process perspective, there is a link you need to apply to get in the pipeline for the demo application process. Well, I'll put that link in the chat as well. Please know that right now, Crinolin's wearing the new prototypes. So it always makes you crack up. They look so good on you. Um, there is a very restricted amount of people that will actually get to demo the glasses through that demo process. It's controlled by our HIPAA compliant clinician team. So there is no way to just jump to the front of the demo application lineup. The purposes of the demos at this point are to provide our engineering and clinical team with improvements that we want to make to the product. We should be getting more functional prototypes like the one Kernelin's wearing from our manufacturers over the next several months. And as we do, we're hoping to open up more demo opportunities. But I would say you can take the first step and fill out the application, and that will give you an opportunity to get selected. But there is no guarantees at this point in time. Go for it, Steve.
Yeah. Maybe that question was just wanting to maybe visit the facility as opposed to get a demo. And it's easy to think that one wants to come for a demo, but I've had several folks just say, "Look, I'm coming to San Diego. I've got relatives. I've got a vacation. If I came out there, could you just kind of show me like, some of the things you're doing?" So if that was the question, then then there's a different answer to that. We're very limited in resources, as you said, Joseph, from a standpoint of a full-fledged demo with optometrists or ophthalmologists and engineers available. But from a standpoint of those just wanting to know we exist, we're real, we have demonstration rooms, we have clinics, maybe that's a different question. So if that individual is asking that, then maybe there are more, and maybe we can set something up at some point, basically get 5 or 10 folks coming out and we'll walk them through and spend a half a day with them.
And I would say if that is what you're interested in, feel free to send us an email to social@innovega.io and we can continue the conversation from there. Griffin, someone was asking as a reminder, where is the dinner in the dark held?
So the fundraiser is in New York City next week, Joseph, at
Mhm.
Tribeca Rooftop. But the Come to Your Senses event, those are different. We do them in local communities around the country. So we haven't. Usually that's in the later summer and early fall. So we haven't set any of those dates yet. But I could always share that with you, and could always share it with the greater community if it's in one of their areas and they'd be interested in coming and learning more about us and participating and having a good time with our community.
And how would people reach you guys to ask some of those questions
Yeah, so
over
we have our
time?
newsletter, we have our intro. I would direct people to our social media, but honestly, the newsletter is the best way to find out what we're doing and what we're up to, besides just reaching out to us through our excuse me, contact, info form. Um, we are doing a little bit of a restructure right now with our group, which is great because then we'll be, we have so much to share and so much to backlog and the new things that are upcoming. So I would say the newsletter is probably the best place for people to see what we have coming up and if it's something they can participate in. That and social media.
How would they see your newsletter or get on your newsletter list?
So they can sign up. They can go to foreseeablefuture.org and it's right on the homepage and they can sign up there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing that. It's
Can I
9:30.
ask a question on that?
Yeah,
Just a
go
very
for it.
quick question to Griffin. The newsletter, that's interesting. I wasn't sure when that was released and how it was released, etc. But in terms of Griffin's reach and Innovega's reach, we should talk about us featuring you more on our communications. I mean, we already do a certain amount, but just the fact that you're just, you're clarifying that this is happening in New York versus we do these other events in other local cities, kind of like local events later in the year. That's all really important information. So keep that coming to us, Griffin. We'll help one another get the good
Yeah,
word out.
however we can help and collaborate and get what we're doing. Of course, the important work of Innovega out there more, Steve, for then,
Super.
like the individuals on the call, we can let them know how they can participate, they can get involved and continue to feel more and more part of the community or just get them introduced to new people and have a good time doing some fun activities and things. But yes, I mean we're doing stuff out on the West Coast. We do stuff in the Northeast. Putting together things for here in the South where I am right now.
Good.
Um, we have programs in Rhode Island, in Carolina, surf clinics that we're doing. So there's a lot of opportunity, I think, too, on featuring everything on both sides to let
Good.
people know.
Yeah,
Good.
and we're in the process right now of we're going to make sure that we add a link to your website on our Innovega landing page.
Great,
So
awesome.
people know that you're a resource and they can find out those events
Well,
easier.
and Corinne, I know you and I have talked about, what can we a joint event and partnership and things that we can do there, which kind of goes on the line of those things as well. If we'll figure that out, whether it's in Seattle or somewhere else, and be able to continue to work in that capacity too, to get more people aware of the glasses and foreseeable, and then also bring, this community out so they can. It's another way they can see the glasses, they can meet us and just gives them another sense of okay, these are other people in the community doing really really cool things, and I want to be a part of it.
100%. Looking forward to it.
So I just want to remind everyone now that we're an hour into this meeting just over, if you have to jump off, this is all recorded, so this will be on our YouTube channel in the next day or two, the replay. For the rest of the time, again, I'd like to just go through the questions. That's what we love to do to make sure we address everyone's questions.
Sure.
You keep them coming. And Griffin, how much longer do you have? I just want to be conscious of your
I
time.
have about 15 more minutes, Joseph, but if there are any questions directed for me too that are in the chat that we don't get to for whatever reason, just shoot them over to me and I can, follow up that way as well. And then we can make sure. I don't want anyone to miss out. Or if they have a question for me that we don't get to here that they think of, they can always reach out to someone from the Innovega team and get it to me. So I make sure I take care of everyone's questions.
Fantastic. And again, if you guys wanted to send us the a question specifically for Griffin, email us at social@innovega.io. We'll absolutely get back to you, and we'll get it to Griffin's eyes. Um, Someone is asking what's the buy-in price for the glasses. They're very interested. So currently, they're at the price of 29.50. Now that we've formally decided we're just going to handle the sales tax on everyone's behalf, that price is actually going to be going up to 32.50 as of June 30th. So we want anyone who's interested to get the earliest possible price. Please do so before the end of the month. If you are on our early reservations list, there is a payment plan option available. And if you're not sure if you are on the early reservations list, again, feel free to send us an email to see if you can access that. social@innovega.io. And if you have any very specific questions about the glasses or the pricing or concerns, I do recommend that you book a one-on-one call with Corinne, who would be happy to speak with you directly. I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. I really strongly encourage you to just click on that link and book a call with her, and you'll be able to go through any of your specific requests or concerns before making that decision. Um, just moving down the list of questions. Brennan, did you want to add anything on that while I'm finding the next question?
No, I just, if you set up some time with me, we can meet over Zoom or over just the phone, and I can answer any questions you have regarding the technology, the investment opportunities, events that we're going to be being a part of here in the future. So happy to do those one-on-one conversations. Just set up the time and we'll jump on a call.
Beautiful. And I think a lot of people had really great experiences going that path. So I do strongly encourage you to do so. Randy and Nancy, if you're still here, one, thank you for the synchronicity of Joseph Mata. And two, regarding your appointment with the glaucoma doctor today, I'm not sure if there's specific test results again or a testimonial that we have access to. But I would say, in terms of helping to assess whether or not these will be helpful for you, really get clear on what your current visual capabilities are and what tools you currently use to that do provide some sort of benefit to you. If you can provide us with, some examples of the tools you're currently using that you find beneficial, we should be able to narrow in on whether or not these will benefit you as well. What we're providing is basically the next generation of a lot of more traditional tools that are already available, just in a much easier, much more seamless experience that actually integrates with your daily life. So it is not like, a magical thing that if certain things don't help you, these will, but we can better clarify that with a little bit more detail. So I encourage you to kind of list that out and send it to us, and we can get back to you with a little bit more clarity. Um, Jedi Yoda, thank you for all of your positive vibes in the chat. Very glad to hear that Griffin has inspired you and that we are answering your questions. Ray, I think Corinne will connect with you. He's been chosen for a demo several weeks ago. When will you be called? Again, Ray, I think you've been talking to Chelsea as well, but we'll follow up with you. So you can book a call with Corinne to get to the bottom of it. And if you're not able to click that link, just send us an email to social@innovega.io. We'll make sure we get to the bottom of your demo application process. Can we get a hat with glasses purchase?
That's a new one.
Steve, that's one for you. Something to think about.
If those on the call and that person asking the questions telling us that our outreach efforts and our ability to build this community by pre-selling our eyewear, etc., would be more effective by providing our amazing baseball caps, we'll do it. We're here to learn.
All right, I will say if you want to take advantage of the lowest possible price and you purchase before the end of the month and you send us an email saying, "Hey, I was on that webinar with Griffin. You said you promised us a hat. We'll send you a bonus hat." How's that? Offer expires June 30th. Would love to hopefully send out as many hats as possible for you guys because we love you being here and this is really important learning for us and opportunity to share. Randy, Nancy, Joseph, Matta sent you a picture of the two of them. Can you please email that to us at social@innovega.io? We'd love to see that and maybe post about it. I've got someone said that they will take that offer for the hat. So, Steve, maybe something to think about more longer term. And
Awesome.
that's the end of the questions, everyone. So,
Good.
again, I'll give you maybe one more minute to ask anything else or provide feedback, positive comments, negative comments. Steve, Kernelin, while they're doing that, any final thoughts?
Corinne?
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you so much for joining us and continuing to be on this journey. I've seen several of you on previous webinars, and it's not going to stop here. So we've been introduced to some additional organizations. We are going to be featuring a company called Acroma Corp, and that'll be in the coming weeks. I'm going to be going out to the Guild. So the Lighthouse Guild next week, meeting with them on Tuesday, thanks to an introduction from our friend Griffin. And so future sessions will be highlighting some of these organizations so that we can continue to provide resources to this community that we've built. And we're just real thankful for you. So stay tuned.
Corinne, we're heading out to Foundation Fighting Blindness
Yes.
Summit event in Texas, end of next week too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
We
be a
will
big
be
deal.
there at the United Envisions Conference, which is one of the largest conferences for Foundation Fighting Blindness. So come see us if you're in the area. It's in Fort Worth, Texas. Um, we'll be there on the 15th. What is it? The 12th and 13th in the expo. And we're going to have an opportunity to show our working prototypes there. So stop on by and see us if you're in the area.
Beautiful. And I am putting links in the chat of things that have been asked about how to join our founder series by pre-ordering, how to reserve shares, how to schedule a call with Corinne, and that's pretty much it. I saw a message from Dino. I'm not sure if this is the same Dino who already got his Innovega hat, but if you're still waiting for another one, please email me. Let me know what that's about because we have a beautiful photo of you in your Innovega hat. Thanks for your heart vision. This is a blessing. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your comments. We are here for you guys, and we're here to serve this community to the best of our ever-improving abilities. So, thank you
Joseph,
so much. Yes, go for it, Steve.
sorry to interrupt. With all of the material you just put into the chat, how is that accessed by others who are on the call? When you close this, can they not access that anymore? Or can you leave it open to give them time to access it? Because you probably provided about 10 different links.
Yeah, only 3 links at the end. And so what I usually do, Steve, if you were here more often, I'm just
Yes,
kidding,
yes.
is I'll say, okay, meeting's ended, but I'll leave it open for about 2 or 3 minutes for anyone to be able to click those links and take any action.
Yeah.
So I will leave it open, and then on the
Good.
YouTube replays when this video goes up, all of the links that are referenced are in the description as well. So there's always access to some of the main calls to action.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Super. Thanks for your good work, Joseph.
No, it's great. It's great to be a part of this team. It's so exciting. I love to see people like Griffin who are just joining forces with us because we're all on the same mission at the end of the day, to improve the lives of millions, as he says. That is our goal. We believe it is very much achievable, and every single day, every single week, we're getting closer. So thank you guys so much for being here. I know we're a little bit over time. Appreciate this community. Reach out, connect with us, and have a great weekend. I will leave this open for a few minutes, but appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you,
Hey,
Steve,
thanks.
for joining us and everybody else who joined the call. And Griffin, thank you so much.
Thanks all. Thanks, Griffin.